Alright, welcome to another painting tutorial. In this one we're going to look at the Skaven Warlord. So this is the Games Day Warlord from a few years back, and here it is all painted up, rotating around. So the idea here is, this sort of techniques will apply to any Skaven Warlord you wanted to do. Some basics here, kind of the skin and some of the Warpstone type stuff and rusty, coppery bits and all that sort of thing. So I did all the base coats sort of off screen there. Some grays for the fur, and light gray for some of the cloak and all that sort of thing. So I'm using Army Painter Soft Tone for a wash. You could use Agrax Earthshade or even Seraphim Sepia for this. So this is the whole thing's getting the same wash, and that just helps speed things up. With Skaven, everything you want kind of want to look dirty anyways. So now I'm just going over the skin area with Cadian Fleshtone, and just trying to stay away from the shadows and get that scar on his face and all that sort of thing. So yeah, doing all the base colors first and then doing a fast wash really speeds up the whole process. Now I'm using Nihilakh Oxide on any bits that I'm going to want to make coppery, and so they're going to have that sort of patina look. And I'm just doing that right over top of the metal colors there. So it doesn't really matter what base color you use for that to some degree anyways, because you're going to cover most of it up. Using Eshin Grey to kind of go over the hairy bits. So I did a bit more gray, just thinking that he actually, you know what, I think I mixed up those colors. That's why we go to Eshin Stormvermin Grey so fast. Wanted to give him sort of a gray look, just so he looks like he's a bit more aged, and make it look like he's worthy of being a warlord. Going on to the next gray here, so trying to get some of the texture, kind of a look with a really fine brush there on the hair. Now some Ryza Rust, so there's another one of the technical paints, and just stippling that on all of the parts that are going to be silver metal, and you can see the oxide there on some of the other bits. So just to keep things looking a little bit rusty and all that sort of thing, and just yeah, mix it in there, trying to get a nice good color on it. I'll highlight that later to get some of the edges showing through. Okay, Rakarth Flesh, going back over top of those the cloak there. And again, just trying to get the raised areas, avoiding any of the shadows that I got with the wash. And sorry, it's off camera there a little bit, but you'll see that later. Nothing too much to see. Anyways, there you go. Okay, then the next highlight will be this Pallid Wych Flesh, and the same sort of idea, just going on to the finer edges of the things now, and making sure that I leave all the other dirty bits exposed, just so it gives it a kind of a worn look, and they'll just help bring out the folds and the highlights there. Some Evil Sunz Scarlet for the shield there, just trying to paint inside the lines. I mean, you can use whatever color kind of highlights with your army or complements your army for that, and same with that little tuft of hair on the on his talberd. Okay, so Hashut Copper for all the bits that were given the patina finish, and just trying to avoid all the recesses. So the idea is that the patina kind of builds up where there's nothing being touched. So in the recesses, that'll get that oxide color. And now with Runefang Steel, I'm just going over all of the metal bits and just trying to pick out the edges there. Again, just where things would be rubbed off, and leaving all the rusty bits on the other parts. Kislev Flesh for next highlight on the skin. So just trying to get the edges of things now, and some of the detail on that tail is probably going to be the majority of it. And this whole technique here, you could use a similar sort of thing for your clan rats. It's pretty fast. Maybe take out some of the extra steps, like obviously Warpstone Glow, unless you guys have Warpstones all over them. I find that the green is a nice complement for your characters, but not necessary on most of your regular guys. So So I'm trying to make this look like a bit of a globe here with some different patterns on it, and that'll come out a bit more on my next highlights. Okay, Moot Green now for the next highlight on the Warpstone stuff. And yeah, just trying to get some nice variation in there. Oh, using those tubes. It seems like there's a piece of warpstone on his back there, so just trying to pick out the sharp edges on it. I don't really do any zenith highlighting or reflection from this on this model. You can see some of my other Skaven stuff. I've tried to do that, and it turns out nicely. This model I didn't think really needed it. Just wanted to paint it up nice and quick. Adding some white scar here, so some of those edges. And then finally some Ushabti Bone highlights on any of the nails and teeth. And that's it. This guy painted up nice and fast and make a nice Warlord. Pretty rare model, I guess, but there's that new plastic one, so you could do all the same sort of techniques with him. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and see you next time.